lot of founders, they get trapped in this feedback loop where they become the bottleneck and they are the hero to every problem that takes place in the business. Not only does that suck because you don't have any of your time back, but it begins to create these habits where they don't really know how to really lead into the future, so they just keep jumping backwards into being a firefighter because at least that feels good and productive.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So the question is, how you transition from entrepreneurs to serial entrepreneur. One thing is to have one business, and this is your TV. But then you accept the freelance and try to go to the beach to enjoy your life. You start another business and get another business. And now you have a person that start the business goes, and then you exit it, which I think is amazing. So how you do this transition from entrepreneur to serial entrepreneur?
Okay. So I think you're saying, how do you go from that hustle where you're grinding out all the time and you're putting all this time into it to where you can actually enjoy the fruits of that, right? Is that kind of the essence of the question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I apologize, Harry. There's just a little bit of some noise feedback or something there that's chopping up some of the audio. I think that's a really good question because you can really get trapped in that cycle, and that feedback loop does something that is really hard to break out of. And a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of founders, a lot of operators, they got a business up to a certain point, and it's kind of like just version 1.0. They go from startup to 1.0. They're making an income. They're bringing some money in, and they're hiring a few people. But they get trapped in this feedback loop where they become the bottleneck and they are the hero to every problem that takes place in the business. And not only does that suck because you don't have any of your time back, but it begins to create these habits that they're very real that some people don't actually recognize. And I've been working through this with a lot of clients lately where they don't really know how to really lead into the future, so they just keep jumping backwards into putting on these, to putting out fires, to being a firefighter, because at least that feels good and productive. And that kind of comes back to earning the right to scale. You got to do what doesn't scale so you can learn what you actually want to scale. And then I will come back to that sequencing, right? So a lot of people, to get that time back, I remember when I was at that point, okay? So I'll tell you from my own life story. This is 20 something years ago. I was putting in, there were some days, Harry, 20 hours plus in a day. And I couldn't spend any more time. And I didn't even I wasn't trying to grow it higher or bigger, but I felt like I had to because my clients were going to leave. I'd grown fast with them for a while, but then I'd hit kind of a plateau because I was running out of time and I had to sleep once in a while. And that was where I was kind of forced to learn how to grow. And if it wasn't for that forcing function, I don't know that I would have. But what I was about to do is hire some salespeople, and then I was going to hire some designers, and then I was going to hire. But luckily, I lean back on one of those lessons that I just mentioned. One of the top 5 things that I say is what's required to build that first million. I reached out to somebody that was way further ahead than me. So I had a friend of the family, a guy that I knew was an entrepreneur, had many, many businesses. And I called him because I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know the next step forward. I had no employees at the time, but I was doing okay. I was bringing in like 300 grand personally a year. And I thought, this is pretty good. I built up from nothing and I got this going on. And I said, hey, I just wondered if I could buy you lunch and maybe pick your brain. I'm really stuck. I don't know where to go. This is 22 something years ago. So there was no AI, okay, no chat GPT to ask these questions to. And this is what struck me, Harry. When I called this guy out of the blue, mind you, this was just like on a Tuesday afternoon. I called And I said, yeah, could I buy you lunch sometime and maybe just pick your brain? He said, yeah, sure. I said, okay, cool. What works for you? And he said, well, how about now? Have you eaten? And I was like, wait, how does this guy who has probably 20 companies, like millions and millions of dollars, and
Ah,
he
ah,
just can leave?
like that.
And I thought I'm like, okay, I'm clearing my schedule. Let's go right now. And so I left and I canceled some shit. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go. If that guy can go, that's what I want to do. So I tried to model him. And I showed up, we had lunch, he scribbled a bunch of things on the napkin, and that's where I began to learn the importance of doing things in the right order. And he said, do not hire those people. You do not have the systems in place. You do not have the maturity. You do not have the business structure ready for that yet. What you need is, and in my case, he said, you need an assistant. I'm like, come on, that's not going to do anything. And that's exactly what we did. We started focusing on getting my time more available. So I want to come back to your question because that was a long way to get around to your question. How do you go from that entrepreneurial grind to where you could leave and go to the beach and enjoy your business? Don't hire people to grow your business. Hire and scale to get your time back. And you have to put it through that filter and that paradigm first. And most people don't. They think, I want to go to the beach with my family. That means the business needs to make more money so that I can afford to hire. Business needs to make money so that I can hire people. Wrong sequence. I need to hire someone so I can get more time to do more important things like more sales and going to the beach.
Justin, this is the story of my life. How you said, oh my God. When I started my first business, I was tired. Same here, I was making money, but I'm working a lot. And I'm tired. I'm in a bad mood. And I cannot function. That gets worse. Then I scale. I had save people. Yeah, and they heard they were good. But then I thought, okay, everything in this business has to go through me. So now we have 100 clients. We have all the employees, and have to decide everything. All the clients want to talk to me. Now the employees want to talk to me. And I'm thinking, when I sleep, people are not they're going to kill me. They don't care, especially the clients.
Yeah.
It was a property business, and they speak with me, maybe can break bread or something. So even if it's 3 a.m., they would say, okay, I'll talk to you at 3 a.m. I'll call at 5 a.m. We need to speak with the you. There was one called Harry that, I say yes, see, and nobody is in the organization. So, some people start to do this process that for my own help, I had to exactly to hide people to free them. Basically, I had to do that to the same thing. Look, if there is a problem, Harry is not going to solve for you. You need 3 possible solutions. Pick the favorite. We try out. If what's work, if it doesn't, it's and you try something else, and I'm thinking to myself like this, I can think, I was so exhausted that I didn't get anymore. I'm like, guys, choose, try it. If it works, if it doesn't, choose the other one, and whatever fine. And I'm thinking, at least I can sleep. Well, just think. I accidentally let them into list. One day I write to the other and they told me, we don't need you. We can grow this company with you. It's okay, travel the way you want. So, which is something amazing that happened to me. I had to say that it was process was structure, like you described, all happened by accident. Yeah. However, how beautiful is if we have someone like you with experience can actually put a process in place. It doesn't happen to me out of survival because I didn't know. I didn't know you. I did exactly that at least 6 years ago.
Yeah.
How I don't know. I don't have any friend, any family friends about that were in the far or anything like this. So my whole transition had to be, it was really but I'm biasing and this goes something amazing that is such possible, right? A lot of people say, no, you have to have your business and you have to work all this with the business and so many years and so like when I speak the conference, I tell guys, it's not because I'll do it. If you package in different way, you can be free and go there whatever time you wanna go. If you wanna go, even my manager it's so easy for me that she don't even come to the office. I'll come to your house and I give you reports once on how the company is going, and it's gonna take hours. And
Yeah.
that was so. You think, what is your message for entrepreneurs founded that they are at the top, they are spinning the wheels, and most important, then finding the right mentor, the right push in order to let them. Because nobody can get to scale or to grow if they have done it themselves. They need to know the purpose. Because it's nothing that you can read in the book.
Yeah.
I think it's skill based. So what message do you have for founders finding the momentum to help them to scale business, but also free the time and then put the time in the business. The business is not you. It's a separate entity, have their own life. So what is your message for founders out there?
Yeah, I would say, well, I do think that you can get a lot out of books. So I like books. And if you don't know anybody, you don't have cousins, you don't have friends of the family or somebody that you can look up to that you could lean on and go to, then I do think I read a book almost every week. And I mean, just think of the return on investment of that time. You know, you've got a book that you can put down in a week or even a month, and that's an entire lifetime of somebody putting their best ideas into one book. So I do think that's a good thing to always do. I tell everybody that I work with, make sure you're reading at least 10 or 20 pages every single day, because that just keeps your mind kind of fresh. But more tactical, more practical information. What can you do if you're at that point and you're spinning your wheels, like you said? Look for mentor. I mean, first of all, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's TikTok, there's all these things where you can see, train the algorithms to feed you information that is going to help you and make you smarter. Second, look for people that you resonate with in those platforms. This is a good place to start. And third, make sure that those people that you're leaning into, that you're resonating with, have actually done something, not just read a book themselves. Okay. So make sure that they didn't just come up with a course to sell on how to scale your business, but in fact, they have run businesses and they have firsthand knowledge.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.